Hey, 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 it is your Auntie, your recap Auntie Shar. Hey, y'all. Hey, happy Tuesday. I'm so mad right now. I found out that this episode 60 came on yesterday in Canada. I don't live in Canada, but I need to find out the hookup of how I can watch these things on time. But anyway, hey, y'all, the Auntie is here for a review. And we open up with the two cutie patooties, Kat and Chels. They're sitting there at Uptown. Uptown is a spot, y'all. Sitting there talking about one of their bags that they are designing. They want to make sure that this bag is able that you can take it to the club and then you can take it to corporate. So, and the little cute top that Chelsea has on, she got them where them fans that type of top. Go ahead, Chelsea, you looking cute. So they're talking about some 3x5 awards are coming up, and I guess this social media girl is up for grabs. And so Chelsea knows a little bit about her. I guess her name is Lucia, blah, blah, blah. But Chelsea's like, honey, I knew her when she was Lucinda. So a cat is like, girl, you are so good at this. You are just good at social media. You are good with product, girl. You are the bomb. And so Chelsea's like, I wish everything in my life was as good as I am perfect, like on social media. And Cat was like, uh-oh, cuz what happened? So Chelsea tells her, like, girl, I struck out with somebody last night, but it ain't no biggie. I'm good. I'll be all right. So Kat was like, girl, you ain't alone, honey. And the next scene we see Haley and her titas and Bill talking to Tomas, and it looks like they are at the country club. And she tells Tomas, Tomas, what a surprise! So Haley says, "Are you gonna join? You gonna join us at the Hyersall Gala tonight?" And Tomas was like, "No, I was about to leave." And so Bill was like, "Wait a minute now. Not until you tell us everything that you found out after you spied on that committee meeting. Y'all know the committee meeting with the three blind mice who Naomi was protecting and being the lawyer for. He got Tomas in there to listen to what the world they talking about his company. So he tells Tomas that, my wife and I hold no secrets, Tomas. And then they showed a camera close up of Haley. She was like, He was like, and she knows about this assignment that you're on, and no, she don't approve of it at all. Ooh, we are back to Miss Tracy, honey. Damn, I hate that I missed her this weekend. Anyway, Miss Tracy and Anita. So Anita tells her that she delayed dinner for them. Would you like a cocktail? Tracy's like, not until we finish this shit. Anita was like, I don't understand what you want me to do here, Tracy. I cannot undo the past or change myself to make myself a nicer person. Look, girl, all I can do is own my ambition and what I was willing to sacrifice to reach my damn goals. That's all I can do. But I cannot change who I was in the past. So Tracy was like, what damn sacrifice? You walked away from our group to get even more success on your own. Honey, marrying Vernon Dupree, having a beautiful family full of type A personalities, who all them people make their own marks in the world. That's what you did. And here you are, sitting on high in your palace. Go on ahead, Queen of Cabrini Green. Go ahead, Trace. And Tracy's like, go ahead. Tell me all about your sacrifices, honey. Anita had to interrupt her, like, look, my life might be looking a little real easy and breezy, beautiful cover girl to you, but you don't know none of the things I had to overcome just to get to this spot. And Vernon, with his fine, good smelling, suit wearing self, like, ladies, he comes in. I bought food from Orphe Jeans. I bought their hush puppies, same me one, and their last of their chocolate pie. He said, I don't want to hear nothing about no diets or, oh, I can not possibly. He was like, oh, because this is a celebration. He was like, eeh. This looks like a stare down that I don't want to be in the middle of. He was like, well, maybe this ain't no celebration. And Anita was like, I ain't hungry. And then Tracy was like, I couldn't possibly. Vernon asked them both, is there anything that I can do to help things along? Anita not skipping a beat. Well, you know, baby, you know how it gets when you start strolling down memory lane. Tracy was like, you run into landmines, unexpected things hidden under rocks. So Vernon was like, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to understand all of the complications of, packing things up after so much time. But he does reiterate, like, Tracy, I do know for a fact that Anita missed you so much. You could see her Tracy trying to soften up a little bit. He says, and I remember how much the both of you loved each other. So he's like, that's got to be worth something, right? They still standing there looking at each other. And Anita is kind of softening up like, girl, he right, girl. He grabs the bag from Orphe Jean's like, look, I'm going to put this in the kitchen when both of y'all are ready. Because I know y'all, after this little, stuff, y'all going to want some vittles. Y'all going to want something to snack on, I'm sure. Tracy didn't give up. She looked after Vernon left. She's like, look, we all made sacrifices, honey. We all wanted the same things for ourselves and for each other. Or at least that's what the fuck I thought. Anita was like, girl, Tracy, honey, we were practically children. Making life-changing decisions, girl. Navigating things that we could only dream of. So Tracy's like, so that's how you get yourself to sleep at night, girl? Really? Tracy ain't feeling this at all. He's like, I knew you had to be weaving some pretty stories in that head of yours to help shield yourself from the awful, dirty, stinky, bad truth. Anita had that cup in her glass of cognac in her hand. She took a deep breath. She just gently put that glass of, sip of cognac, and she folded her fingers together, looked at Tracy and said, thank you so much for coming, Tracy. I do appreciate all the time that we've spent together catching up. And Tracy looks appalled. Anita says, and I will happily pay for your trip home. Bringing up the reunion was a mistake, a pipe dream. And I sincerely apologize for bringing it up while you hear this violin all playing in the background. All right, so we are over at Martin and Smitty's house, and we see Samantha and Vanessa there talking. So, she came over, Vanessa came over so that her and Tyrell can do some homework. Yeah, that's all y'all better be doing is homework. So Samantha was about to call Tyrell to come downstairs, and Vanessa was like, wait a minute now. Don't call him yet. I want to talk to you about something first. So we get to Orphe Jean's, and we see Smitty sitting there look mad with his arms folded up in front of him, and Martin is about to sit down. Is that a brownie I see in his hand? No, it's not a brownie. It's his phone. So he had to take a phone call. I guess he had to walk away and take that call. And he tells Smitty, he's like, sorry, I had to step away. When duty calls. And Smitty with his mouth tight, all mad. How many more calls are you going to put off? How many more calls are you going to take to put this off? Because I need to talk to you right now. So Mark was like, ain't nan. I ain't going to take no more. So what's going on? So Smitty don't say nothing. So Martin was like, okay, so now you ain't got nothing to say. So Martin is like, okay, Smitty, look, what's going on between us? What happened? So he says, we used to be the envy of all of our friends, honey. Couldn't nobody crown us but be kings of communication. We were top of the hill with that, baby. He was like, well, when them kids came, we couldn't, talk dirty over dessert or leave little nasty, sexy love notes all around the house. Them kids changed a lot. So Martin tried to sound all sexy. Baby, you used to write me the most amazing, wonderful love letters. Used to leave them, all the time, baby. Look, write me one right now. And so, Smitty was like, what, here, now? He was like, okay, yeah. What is this one thing that you've been dying to tell me? Oh, Smitty started to choke up. He said that I love you and you mean the world to me. Yeah, I need a baker, baby. Yeah, you mean the world to me. Oh, Smitty is like, and I wish that I made you as happy as you make me, baby. So Martin was like, baby, you do. You do. Never doubt that. Please don't. So Smitty's like, then believe me when I tell you that whatever this is, we can definitely get through this shit. He said together. So Martin was like, wait a minute, baby. You making me nervous, love. I mean, what's the problem? So Smitty, without unfolding them damn arms, he looked at his husband. He said, Bill fucking Hamilton. Now you tell me. So you could see Martin like, oh, shit. I tell you, they really will make sure they're going to throw an AARP commercial right before this show. Anyway, we're back at at Uptown, and Chelsea is sitting there with Kat talking about how Allison was sexy and fun and beautiful and on fire, and I just wanted her. Chelsea, you got to remember, girl, that girl was married, like Maari. She found her person. So she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so fucking embarrassed. Somebody shoot me right now. Like if anybody would ask me what are my top 5 embarrassing moments, honey, girl, I would list this as being the top 3. 1, 2, 3." So she was like, Kat was like, "Girl, I'm so sorry, Chelsea. I know how you just wanted the ground to open up and swallow you. How many of y'all have ever had that situation? You had something that happened that you just wish the ground would just open you up and swallow you whole. Yes, I've been there. When my son told me his first time with his girlfriend, they decided to tell me at one time, and she was like, "Oh, no, you didn't tell her." When I tell y'all, I felt like I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Anyway, so Chelsea I know my kids are gonna kill me. Anyway, Chelsea tells like, "Girl, I even told Mama about her. I told Danny, and I told the grands too." And so Kat was like, "What?" And so Kat was like, "Whoa, girl, cuz, honey, that was a really big deal." Now, well, how did Aunt Danny respond? And so Chelsea was like, "Well, you know my mom. When it comes to certain things, she's ready to go nuclear when it comes to stuff." She said, "But when it comes to her girls like me and Naomi, girl, she is as soft as a petal, and she's ready to be the face of being an ally for the LGBTQIA community." Again, you already know that Carla, she identifies as queer, so she was very supportive. So they was like, and how grandpa and grandma was, what did they say? So Chelsea was like, they were really sweet on the phone with me. They didn't have a problem with it. So this is not the first time that someone that they love has come out to them. Of course, we know Martin has done that, and so now here's Chelsea. So they were all the ground was already laid for them to be prepared if another grandchild was going to come out and say, "I love the same sex." This is a really cool show, I'm telling you. So Kat was like, "Ain't that the truth?" She said the family was nothing but supportive when Martin came out. Of course, Martin is her brother. She was like, everybody welcomed Smitty with open arms. She says she thinks that if Martin would have let them do it, they both would have been sharp walking down the aisle at the wedding with rainbow suits on. So, Chelsea's like, "Girl, that's it, cuz." She's like, that's love. And that's what I thought I had with Allison. She said, "But I came to find out, honey, that I was just something fun to do on couples night." And Kat was like, "No, ma'am." So she's like, "Stop that right now. You are so much more than that, cuz." So Chelsea, her soft speaking voice, "Well, not to Allison and Craig." Bless her heart. She's like, "I was just the spice. I'm not the main ingredient." Girl, yeah, you was just the paprika or the Cajun, the Cajun spice. That's all. She really thought that they had a real 3-way mutual connection, but she was wrong. I think that Allison was really digging her, but for some reason, I feel that she didn't tell Craig. I think Allison didn't want to rock the boat. So, because we haven't seen Craig, I would love to know what he thought about this whole situation. So Kat was like, "Well, what about Bill's ass? Did you talk to him about it?" She was like, "Girl," Chelsea was like, "He misread the room like he always fucking do. And he thought that me and Mama was getting into it last night. He's so damn clueless." So she was like, he tried to butt in, but I curved his ass, And she was like, "I was really, really pissed off at Allison, and I just did not really feel like hearing another damn opinion about it. So Chelsea was like, "Girl, I know, cuz I know I need to talk with him." And so Kat was like, "You know what, though, cuz I am so goddamn proud of you, girl. Honey, you took a chance and you risked your heart." And so, Chelsea's like, "Yeah, and it got handed back to me." So Kat was like, "Girl, there ain't nothing wrong with wanting and wanting more. Like, Allison just wasn't the one. And just because Allison wasn't the one, it does not mean that you should not stop, that you should stop looking for the right match." And so Chelsea was like, "Well, look at the virgin." So Chelsea was like, "So does that mean that there was a status change between you and Tomas?" So Kat was like, "I tried to tell that knucklehead about Eva and about her crazy ass mammy and how dangerous they are. And they asses need to be on police watch because they are dangerous as hell." And so she said Tomas was acting like that I was the bad guy. So she like my father's illegitimate love child is some lost soul foundling or something like that. And so Chelsea was like, Thomas. She's like, Thomas, wait, sit down, honey. You just got here. I mean, is he even allowed to even have an opinion yet? And Kat was like, honey, I don't care how fine his ass is. He does not get to tell me how I need to feel about Eva. Ooh, Chelsea was like, well, what's worst about it is that he's really right, but you already know that deep down inside. Kat was like, the fuck? So, Kat was like, what? So, Chelsea and her baby hairs was like, Eva is your half sister and my half cousin. So, Kat was like, okay, all right. So Kat was like, so do you want to join you want to join the list with Tomas with the on the dead to me list, huh? Because you could be dead to me, because there is an opening for you. So we're back at the country club with what's her name, Haley and Bill. Why would you, Bill? Why would you tell Tomas that I'm happy about his actions? And Bill was like, because it's true. And he needs to learn that his job keeps me happy. So Bill was like, remember whose name is on that damn door? And Tomas was like, well, whatever you say goes, boss. So Bill calls Tomas a partner in the making, and he asks him for some unofficial minutes from that meeting. And Tomas tells him, you'll have them by morning, sir. Bill was like, ain't no damn morning. I want them shits within the hour. And then Haley was like, have a good night, Thomas. So Haley is looking up at him like, babe. He was like, what? Look, it's nothing wrong with keeping a man on his toes. Look, there's some necessary evils in this world, darling. And putting Tomas's ass on that committee was one of them. She was like you said, babe, that the firm is your baby, and you'll do anything you need to do in your power to protect what's yours. I really actually love that about you, babe. So now we back at Orphe Jeans with Martin and Smitty. And so Martin was like, we was starting to have a really nice moment. Real good moment. And now you bring up Bill Hamilton? So Smitty was like, hey, look, he ain't my favorite topic either, especially what he did to Danny. And then Martin was like, yeah, but you chose to insert him in this conversation. What's the tea? So Martin was like, what you mean? I mean, look, why? What happened? So Smitty was like, look, okay. Now, remember, I love you. This is a really good time for me to remind you again that I love your ass. So Martin was like, hell shit, I don't like this shit. So Smitty still looks hurt in his face. He's like, look, Bill said something about you, and it has me really, really concerned. We back at the mansion, honey, with Anita and Tracy. And Tracy is telling her, here I am. Here I was thinking that you had started to getting into something new. Anita just walking past her, honey, preparing for her to leave. She said, but no, same old Nita, just wrapped up in all of your expensive trimmings. Anita was like, excuse me? Tracy was like, one note goes sour and you want to toss out the whole fucking song. You could see Nita is back to her cold, heartless self. She's like, I'm sorry that this was a waste of time between the both of us. So Tracy was like, not for me, honey. But if what Vernon said was true, I missed you too. We were family once. And then Anita was like, closer. Just for a time. Tracy was like, it really did my heart so damn good to know that we were going to take on the world, honey. Tracy was like, I'm not sorry that I came here. And Anita agreed, telling her that we did need to talk. Tracy was like, girl, you know we haven't scratched the surface, right? And Anita was like, girl, that don't matter. Because if you ain't into trying to do no reunion concert, honey, there ain't no way in hell that Sharon's going to agree. So Tracy was like, is that how you reign supreme here at Fairmont Crest? I mean, I mentioned one thing about the past, and then you decree in your kingdom, and you're dead set against that. You think that I'm dead set against the concert. Is that how you do things here? So Anita was like, well, ain't you? So Tracy was like, girl, is that what we doing here right now, Anita? Huh? Like tiptoeing around what's really going on between us right now? You said that we needed to talk, all right? So let's go ahead and do it. Ooh, then Tracy says, unless You're happy being haunted. So Anita goes back and grabs her glass off the coffee table, and she's like, "No one gets to be our age and go without having some drama and some strife, girl." So Tracy's like, "So you trying to tell me that you're not afraid or scared, or you won't be unhappy if certain doors were going to be open for you? You're not afraid of that?" Anita says, "I don't allow fear to dictate my life. Honey, I knew what I was stepping into when I picked up that phone." Tracy tells her, "Look, I'm not the problem. If you can talk Sharon into singing, girl, then you got yourself a reunion." Anita was like, "You think we can convince her?" Oh, Tracy was like, "Mm-mm. Do you think you can?" I cannot wait to find out who Sharon is. Does anybody have a clue? Oh, hopefully they're going to bring her in way before fall. I cannot wait. Okay. We're back to the house, Smitty and Martin's house, and we see Vanessa and, no, not Vanessa. Is that baby name? The girl who like Tyrell, Samantha. I can't think of that baby name, but they just talking about. She said, "You think Tyrell like you?" "Yes, girl, he likes you." Next scene. Her name is Jessica. I knew it was a Essa in there. It wasn't Vanessa. We know that's, fast put. But Jessica, and Samantha's telling her, "Girl, if you don't make that move on Tyrell, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life." So Tyrell comes downstairs and she lightening up, First she was the most popular guy. Now Tyrell acted like he all cool. "Come on, boy. You like that girl. Stop tripping." So Samantha's like, if she don't pass, get a B in physics, her mammy gonna take her phone. So he was like, "We need to get going." So, oh my God, girl, he going. Next. So we get back to Uptown with Kat and Chelsea. And I mean, Chelsea's like, "I'm just saying, cuz Eva's my cousin too." And Kat is like, "By marriage, honey. And y'all just met. Who spied on your beloved aunt and also tried to kill Laura and run her ass off the road and giving her ass a heart attack." And Chelsea was like, "Unsubstantiated." You know her soft voice. She was like, "Look, bottom line, I know that Eva and Leslie did that shit. You know how I know? Because they were the only two who benefited from it." And then Chelsea just like, "Look, Eva got mixed up in some shitty shit about, doing some really bad stuff against your family. And your dad, he's just trying to rebuild that relationship in spite of all of that. That's all. He's not necessarily ignoring what she's done, but he's also isn't erasing the fact that he is her father, cuz. So, like it or not, Eva's here to stay." And Kat is like, "Oh my God." And then guess who comes in? Tomas. And he's like, "Hey, Kat. Hey, Chelsea. What's the tea?" So Tomas asked Kat, "Does she have a minute?" And so Chelsea was like, "Oh, no, take two. They're short." And so she leans in and tells Kat, "Look, be nice, right?" You can see Kat's face like, mm-hmm. So she gets up and leaves, and Tomas takes a seat. So we're back at Orphe Jeans, and Martin, he go with he's a reader. He's petty. He tells Smitty, he says, "So you're having back alley meetings with Bill Hamilton." He didn't say that. Martin, you sure know how to pull out a dagger and stab a person in the heart, I swear. He says, "The man who's caused entire chaos in his family, and you're concerned about me?" So Smitty is like, it's a lot to unpack. And then Martin is like, "Why would that leech even want to talk to you, anything to you about me?" So look, Smitty's like, "Look, I need for you to calm down." And so Martin's like, "Okay, I'm chill." So Smitty tells him that Bill has summoned him to his place, and Martin was like, "Why?" "To remind me that DC is a small town built on favors and built on connections too." So he was like, that's a Bill Hamilton maneuver. Like, because I'm still on the hill, he wants to keep his hand, although he ain't in my family no more, he wants to keep his hands on everything because of the fact that I have a lot of movers and shakers in my back pocket. So he wants to be shaking and moving with me too, because I'm on the hill. Yeah. So Martin apologizes that Bill put him through that, and Smitty was like, "Mm-mm. Sound like to me that he knew something. Like he knew something dangerous. Like he also said that it's important for you and for him to stay on the same damn team." So Martin act like he don't know. He's like, "What that mean?" And so Smitty was like, Bill said, don't worry, Martin will understand. And Smitty leans the fuck in and says, does Bill know something about you that I don't? This Martin's like DC's most wonderful newspaper writer, reporter, got played by a lawyer. I mean, he's an expensive lawyer, and you don't get to the top of that heap by being a damn nice guy. It's like, man, why would you say that to your husband? That's your husband, dude. Now he says Bill is really good in the courtroom. Can't nobody take that shit from him. He's earned that. But what that does in the real world is how he makes his name. Bill knows how to pull strings, honey. He knows how to make news stories appear and disappear and make court cases go away. So Smitty's like, so you're saying that, so Martin was like, look, a hot shot reporter can come in very, very handy for Bill. So Smitty's like, well, why would he, put out these innuendos about you? So Martin was like, look, he likes to play a lot of mind games. He likes to tip the power, but in the end, he likes to tip the power in his favor no matter what. But he's into those mind games. And we all know that Bill loves to play games. He gets bored real easy. So when him and Haley are just being bored, that's when he going to show up over at Danny's house, creating some type of narrative, or at the Dupree's, talking some shit about getting rid of some land, and don't forget I'm still know y'all shitting. He always do some shit like that. And so he was like, why is he doing it against me? And so Martin was like, because you're valuable. Once again, because you are part of the esteemed press. So somehow Martin has convinced Smitty that all this Bill game is just a power move. It's just a game. He needs to be disgusted about it. It ain't nothing that he really need to worry about. So he calls Bill a snake. He don't know how Aunt Danny saw what she saw in that mother sucker. But now Bill is Haley's problem, not ours. So we're back at the country club with the boring Hamiltons. And so, so Haley was like, it's nice to have you to myself for a minute. It's really nice. And he's like, yes, baby, it is. So he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna have some coffee. I'll just save my appetite for the gala. Yes, I'll do that. And she's like, there's always so much to do. And he's like, well, baby, that's what you get when you're married to DC's most wanted attorney. And she's like, well, what if I'm really tired of attending galas and having lawyers infringe on dates with my hubby? Look, I joke, but the firm, babe, is not your child. I mean, it doesn't deserve 100% of you, babe. Okay? He's like, okay, Haley, what the fuck is this all about? She's like, I try not to complain, but the second wife gets less. Everyone knows that. He's like, wait a minute, well, hold on just a minute. She's like, look, I got 20% of the gorgeous wedding that we planned, and maybe 30% of the honeymoon of Italy, and 0 invitations to exclusive parties in the community. And like, I really don't measure up. He's like, baby, no, that's not true. She's like, well, that's all I hear. He's like, okay, all right, now, you'll feel better after we go to the gala, all right? Bill, I've been waiting all day just to get you alone. And I know within the next 5 minutes, your ex or one of your daughters or one of your clients is going to just can sweep you away and take you away from me. She has very, very low self-esteem, honey. So it's clear that you can't keep his attention. Duh. He's like, look, baby, nobody can take me away from you, okay? And what the hell is this anyway? He was like, look, just relax. Look, come on. Have a glass of wine. And he waits for the waiter. And she's like, I can't. He's like, why not? She says, we're having a baby. He's like, oh, wait a minute. We're doing what? She's like, see? Even this moment gets ruined. It was supposed to be so romantic. A perfect little space and time we'd always remember when I told you that we're having a baby. It's our first. And then you see this kind of smile comes across his face, girl. Whatever. Next scene, we go to Anita and Sharon, and Anita tells her that I hate that I hurt you and Sharon. They both agree that that damn Dante Green was the devil himself, honey. I can't wait to see who they gonna cast him, because he was a lot. Then there was a young man that I saw on IG over the weekend that he had on yellow. He had like a yellow fedora and something else, and he's a Dupree. I'm like, okay, we have another character that we're bringing in. So I don't know if he just did that just to say he's part of it because he's a fan, or if he's really cast for it. But he's a Dupree, so I can't wait to see who he is. But anyway, Dante Green, honey, he's the devil. His ass convinced Anita that she had what it took to go alone, and that he was the man, the only man with the plan that can make it happen. And so Anita was like, that his timing was impeccable. And at that point, at that particular time, she just wanted to get out. She said she was not thinking about what her choices were going to do to Sharon and Miss Tracy. Or if I was, I really actually talked myself into not caring if I even cared about it. Because I talked myself out of it. Anita apologizes. She says, I hurt you. And I'm so very sorry. She gets choked up. And Tracy was like, honey, I know. Anita was like, if I could go back. Tracy was like, we can't. So Anita was like, you're right. But what if we have been given this chance for a reason? Like, what if we can do it right this time? Then Then Tracy says, second chances are very rare, sis. It'd be real foolish to let one slip away. Anita says, girl, you could have walked right out that door as soon as I mentioned the idea of a reunion concert. Tracy was like, not on your damn life. So Anita was like, girl, are we out of our mind? Tracy was like, girl, you already know. Anita was like, do you really think we could do this? The three of us. Back on stage again, singing. Tracy looks and she says, I'm in. And then Anita was like, well, girl, that's two. And Tracy was like, well, that's a good place to start. And Anita was like, but it might be a place where we're going to stall. She was like, number 3 is Sharon. And girl, she's even more angry at me than, she hates me, okay? Tracy was like, well, have you called her? Anita's like, girl, she hung up on me. So Tracy was like, Sharon may refuse your calls, but she won't refuse mine. I'm the peacemaker, right? You both could always count on me. You always could. Sorry, I didn't remind you of that when it mattered most. So Anita's like, girl, it matters now. So she reaches out her hand and Tracy looks at it a little bit and then she puts her hands in Anita's hand. So that's 2, honey. Who is Sharon? So we get back briefly between Tyrell and Jessica. And so he was like, what's going on with all of this unsolvable problem? So he's looking through her notebook. And I guess she had a little love note that she was writing his name on it. So he was like, what's this? She's like, no, not that. So cute. Don't y'all remember that? I wrote me a love note one time in middle school. And I put it in this guy's locker who I had a crush on. His name was Eric Alexander. Ooh, he was so yummy. Chocolate, wavy hair, tall, and I was extremely shy. And I put it in his locker. And one day I was looking around the corner to see if he found it. And I think he found it. And, back in middle school, well, you don't know, but we had lockers. And so he shared the note with his friends. And I didn't think he knew who it was, but I guess he knew who it was. And I guess he had a girlfriend, so he really couldn't show me the attention that I need. But look at me now, nigga. Where you at, Eric? You was having me feeling all kind of way in middle school. Ooh, went back to a moment, y'all. I'm sorry. Let's get back to Tomas and Tomas and Kat. We're at Uptown, and did y'all have a moment like that when you had a crush on somebody and they had a note? I know I'm old, but some of y'all be hiding behind avatars on these computers. Have you ever had that issue before? Or that little moment that you had a crush on somebody and you were afraid to let them know? So you pretended to be somebody else, or you were anonymous? Let me know. Anyway, Tomas was like, your cousin was in such a rush to leave. She was like, Kat was like, yeah, I know. She hates fights. He was like, are we fighting? She was like, we're just bridging the gap of you trying to always make me feel guilty about being the bad guy for not opening my arms to Eva, and inviting her to permanent family functions. Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. She tells him, you refuse to see things from my way. And he says, I can see how they can seem a bit insensitive. She's like, thank you. He's like, well, look, I feel like I've learned so much about you that I feel like I've earned the right to have some opinions. That's all. She was like, oh, really? So when did I get a chance to make assumptions and challenge the choices that you make in your life? He was like, well, when you really want to get to know me, he said, like, really know me. She's like, oh. He's like, because right now, baby, that ain't happening. You're not trying to get to know me. So she was like, did you just call me a self-obsessed princess? He was like, I wouldn't dare. She said, well, if that's a no. She said, and if you really do think that, then you've got some important things to learn about me, honey. So we are back at Orphe Jeans, and we're back at Smitty and Martin having a conversation about Bill. And Smitty said that he was actually jealous of the fact of there's somebody out there who knew more than he did about his own husband. And especially since that person just happens to be Bill Hamilton. Girl, Bill does not want Martin. I can promise you that. So Martin was like, that's fair, that's fair. He said, but look, to fact check, is Bill Hamilton actually a human being? Or is he the devil? And so Smitty was like, yeah, you're right. So Martin just reassures him that nobody knows me more than you. And so he has some type of bill thing that he has to work on, appropriation bill, so he has to run. So Smitty was like, go ahead, baby, I got the check. So Martin was like, I see you at home. He's like, look, I love you now, right? So Smitty was like, he put his hand over his chest like he was doing Wakanda. And he's like twice as much. And so Martin gives him a kiss and he skedaddles. Okay, we're back to Tomas and Kat at Uptown. And she tells him some facts about herself. She says she posts a lot on social media. Quick note, BET Awards is back and Kevin Hart is hosting it. How cool is that? I'm going to watch that on June the 9th. We're back to the story. So again, she posts a lot on social media, but she never stalks for people. So she opens up her phone and she says, let's take a look at Mr. Tomas, shall we? He was like, why social media? She was like, yes, because you the one who said that your life is like an open book. Oh, she was like, well, show me. Let's do it. He said, the problem is you can't turn the pages in this open book via social. Okay, Tomas. I mean, yeah, I'm sure she wants to turn some pages or turn you out or something, but okay, I mean, learning Tomas requires an IRL connection. You know what that means, in real life connection. So she goes to his page and she's like, I see a whopping 2 posts. How fun. And he was like, anything you want to know, just ask me. I'm sitting right here. She's like, okay, well, since I can't browse through your stories like a normal person, let's see, what do you do on the weekends? So he reads a lot of novels on the weekends. He likes fantasy romance, Carl Ivanti novels. So he likes fantasy and he likes romance. Okay, that's one thing we know about Tomas. She's like, I never would have guessed that about your ass. He was like, oh yeah. He was like lovers finding each other across different dimensions, baby. Ooh, that's my jam. So she's like, okay, duly noted. I'm going to take a mental note of that. What else? He was like, well, staying fit as much as I can, hiking on the weekends, and also salsa dancing. She said, you salsa? He's like, do I salsa? No, I'm Puerto Rican. It's in my DNA. She's like, ooh, impressive. Ooh, she says, I feel like I should have known that. And he's about to sip a drink. He's like, yeah, you should have. She's like, well, I blame you. I mean, why haven't you taken me dancing? So out of the 2 posts that she sees on his wall, she asks him, oh, who's this little boy on your wall? He was like, he's been working with the Big Brother program for about 5 years. And so she's like, oh. So Ramon is grown up without a father figure, so he steps in to try to do what he can to help. So he was like, well, that could be the reason why I wish you would really take in Eva, because when you grow up missing certain people in your life, it does leave a lot of scars. He says he sees that those scars in Eva, and he wished that somebody would have been there for her like he's been there for Ramon. So she said she's gonna try to start asking him more questions because she really wants to get to know him. And she was like, "Good." And he actually says he likes her. Now, has he said it to Eva before? So she's like, "Oh, you do? Oh, okay." So she's like, "Are you sure that you don't think I'm some stuck, spoiled little rich girl who is real careful about the people that she keeps around her and wants to keep the whole world at a distance? Huh? Is that what you think about me, Tomas?" He was like, "Not all the time." You know, he was joking. She was like, "If you only knew how many people really wanted to like date me or be friends with me only because of my family, honey, or how many times I've been hurt." So yeah, sure. Poor little rich girl. She says she's learned to take things slow and be careful and not let everyone in, which is good. That's don't take that from Kat, honey. Don't just let everyone in because everybody in there gets too crowded and then you lose yourself, you know? He's like those gates around your community. She was like, "Look, I don't trust Eva." He says, "Yet." She was like, "Look, I don't know if I'll ever like her either." And she feels it is frankly way too much to expect for her to change overnight or at all. I think that's true. She says, "I'm entitled to not trust Eva. Damn, she earned that shit. And I am entitled to her untrustworthiness without me being treated like I'm a bad person or something." He was like, "I don't think you're a bad person." So she laughs and because he says, "Now you're supposed to say that back to me." She was like, "Honey, why would I ever think that you're bad?" She was like, "You're pretty much perfect." He's like, "Look, far from it, honey." So she was like, "How about this?" She says, "I will be more curious about when it comes to you. I like, what are you thinking right now?" She moves in, honey. You know, they ain't did it yet, so it's coming. So he moves in. It's like, you tell me what I'm thinking, boo. Oh, so cute. Congratulations to Colby. She's been posting on her wall all weekend about her getting married. She had her bridal shower. Colby is a young lady who plays Cat, and she's getting married to this wonderful brother. So congratulations to Colby. And then the next scene we get to, I guess I was wrong about the note. Next scene we get to Martin and Smitty's house, and so Jessica and Tyrell is doing all this physics, blah blah blah. If A plus B squared and geometric in the sky don't fall, you know, all that shit. And then she reaches in to kiss him, and then she stops and then she reaches in to kiss him again. And so Samantha comes in like, "Ooh." And then she turns around and then she goes back into the kitchen. So we get back to Miss Anita and we see Anita. That must have been like an old guiding light picture of her singing. Because, you know, she used to be on Guiding Light a long time ago, Miss Tooney. So it must be an old picture of her. But they have the other two ladies in the background. You can't really see who they are. Is that Loretta Devine? I want Sharon to be Loretta Devine, y'all. I want Sharon to be Loretta Devine. But we're back at the house looking at Anita and Tracy. So while she's looking at the picture, Vernon comes in and says, "Everything okay with you and Tracy?" So Anita says, "Well, she's freshening up. I'm getting a car to take her to the airport. I'm gonna fly her back instead of her taking the train. I'm putting her on a plane, baby, and flying her back." So Vernon was like, interesting turn of events." She's like, "Yeah, she's gonna talk to Sharon and try to at least have a discussion about the reunion concert." So Vernon was like, "Baby, you should be happier. You're one step closer to getting back on that stage with the articulate." So she's still looking at the picture and she says, "You know, where there was a time when I thought that the only thing that mattered was this, our name in lights, crowds screaming for more, adding another gold album to the wall. I had a gift that was going to take me to the top, and that's where I was going, no matter what I had to do." She looks up at Vernon and tells him that you really didn't know me back then, honey. Not the real Anita Williams, only what I chose to let you see. But I was not all sweetness and light. I was ruthless, selfish, someone I tried very hard to erase. But you can't, can you? Because the people you hurt bear witness. Go ahead, Anita. As she was saying that, honey, she took the picture and turned it upside down, face flat on the piano. Bless her heart. What did she do? So Vernon reaches out to her and says, Anita, and she just looks at him and she's like, look, just hold me. So he hugs her and you can see the tears just going down her face. And now we get back to Bill and Haley. And he was like, we're having a baby? Duh, that's what she said. And she tells him, this is not how I wanted to tell you at the country club before the gala. I wanted it to be special for you to feel overjoyed. And he's like, baby, it is. I am. So she was like, well, but how can you be, baby? You already have two grown daughters. How can this one matter? He said, because this will be ours. She's like, you really mean it? He's like, yes, yes, look. This kid is going to be the best of us because he's going to be the best of us. How you know it's a boy, Bill? He's like, and then he talks to her stomach. You hear that, baby Hamilton? She's like, babe, he doesn't even have ears yet. Oh my God, it's gonna make me sick. Then he's like, well, then I'll shout it out to the universe since our baby don't have ears. Baby, you have made me the happiest man in the world. I'm gonna be a pappy again. Oh my God, we see Chelsea comes in. Oh, and she said, if you just said what I think I heard, I'm gonna lose my lunch. He turns around. Oh my God. So we're back with Kat and Tomas about to leave uptown. And so she was like, well, the takeaway of this date was to ask more questions and look beneath the surface. He was like, look, people can be complicated. And she says, you and I do not see Eva from the same lens. No, we don't. She was like, maybe we never will. And he was like, I'm good with that. She was like, really? He was like, yeah. He said, look, this isn't about me pushing you to like Eva. He said, I want you to like me, be interested in me, who I am, what makes me tick. She was like, I already am. And if you don't know that, then I need to change my strategy here. He's like, oh, you have a strategy when it comes to me, huh? She's like, well, does that bother you? He's like, no. They look so good together right here. They really do. He's like, I just hope that you like a challenge, baby. Then they kiss, of course. Ooh, child, we back at the country club and we back at Chelsea fussing at Bill and Haley. Was like, well, this is the part that you both are supposed to be laughing hysterically and say, and tell me that this is all a big damn fucking old joke. And she was like, and by the way, that's really lame. And he's sitting back, well, it's true, baby girl. He says, sorry, not sorry. And Chelsea was like, oh, God. He claims that this is not the way that he wanted her to find out, but his dad, but your dad is going to be a pappy again. And then Haley looks up at Chelsea, talking about, a baby is good news. So Chelsea was like, for you, maybe. But she looks at Bill's like, but you, damn, you know better. Chelsea looks at Haley and was like, you thought that people were shunning your ass before? She's like, just you fucking wait. You and that kid are going to be ostracized for life. She's like, what, Chelsea? Haley says, were you hoping that this was just a fling? Are you really talking to this girl about fucking her dad? Girl, that your dad and I were only enjoying ourselves immensely for a little bit until he went back to mommy? Really? Girl, Chelsea, take that fan off your shirt and slap her right in her forehead. She's like, oh no. And then she looks at Bill. Oh, I hope she wasn't thinking that, babe. So we are back with Vernon and Anita. He was like, look, baby, you forgot one important fact. I knew you when you were with the articulates. That's when I fell in love with you. Now, complicated, yes. He was but ruthless, selfish. He's looking at her eyes like, oh no, baby. She was like, well, you didn't work with me. You didn't work with me. I meant to say, she said that you didn't have to work with me. She said she thought seeing Tracy would be healing, but so many of the good memories are all tangled up and tied up in the bad ones. They're just coming at me so hard and fast. And then Vernon cuts her off and says, look, you were young, girl. You got manipulated by questionable people. You fought like the devil to be somebody, right? So you put your trust in Dante Green. She was like, no, baby, I can't blame him for everything. I left a lot of damage in my wake, all on my own. And Vernon was like, who hasn't, honey? And also, that was a lifetime ago, Anita. You're a whole different person now, baby. I mean, look at what you're doing. You're reaching out to Tracy and to Sharon, and you're trying to make things right. You got growing pains, honey. That's to be expected. He said because he said it's gonna all work out, and she was like, she looked at him. He's like, you know why? He said because it's written. You better say that, Vernon. He said, you'll see. Then he rubs her arms and he looks on the piano and puts the picture back up so it can face up like it always should be. And today was a really good episode. Pretty light. No real drama. It looks like what's coming up the rest of the week is going to be people choking each other, people walking on somebody, people hiding stuff, people screaming, people trying to stop fight. It looks like it's going to be a good week. Oh man, a good week. I wonder should I go ahead and hop on episode number 2 since we got that Canada hookup. I ain't got the Canada. Anybody out there from Canada, hook your auntie up, all right? Now I can go look at the other young man and look at his video because I was like, I'm not looking at your video and finding out what happened because you had access to today's episode yesterday. So today is going to be right on target. Then I can go back to normal. So I might do that. I have too much to do though tonight. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you so much. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for letting me drop my little nuggets over the weekend. It was a good weekend. Hopefully y'all had a safe Memorial Day. But I had some stuff going on about Dana, Leslie, Lulu. It just kept swimming through my head and y'all chimed in and I love it. And we're growing. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. And let me go ahead and upload this video. And I will try and see if I'm going to watch episode number 60. I say that this is episode 60? Yes, it's 60, y'all. All right, y'all be blessed and see y'all in the next video. Bye.